What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Two Knicks Chicks. I'm your girl, Lady, and the chef.
And I am Diva Lux, 21. What's up?
The Knicks have won 8 in a row now. We had the pleasure of being at yesterday's game where the Knicks hosted the Utah Jazz at Madison Square Garden. It was a great, I don't want to say it was the prettiest win, but nonetheless, the Knicks got the win. Um, I thought the Knicks started off that game a bit slow. It was a slow paced game in the first quarter, especially. Um, there was really no tone to the game. There was no pace to the game. I just felt like, I don't know, the game just seemed to be dragging. And I was waiting for something to happen with the Knicks. And then I feel like the second quarter, the Knicks started to find their footing. And then you had a lot of like thumping noises because between Isaiah Hartenstein, Jalen Brunson, guys were like falling down on the ground. You heard backs hitting the hardwood, heads hitting. There's a couple of close calls with guys who we didn't know if that was another major injury, considering we already have a man down situation with the Knicks. But
Well, so
nonetheless, right. Nonetheless, I thought it was a pretty solid game from the for the Knicks. I was looking forward to the Knicks to actually taking the win in this game just because I thought the Knicks should have won against Utah when we played them on that road game stretch that we had. But the Knicks did pull out the win, 118 to 103. The Knicks are now sitting at 31 and 17 in the Eastern Conference, and then at number three, they moved up because Philly had moved to the fourth seed. So I thought there was a couple of standouts for that game, and we'll go over that. But for you, any standouts for you, or what stood out for you in that game?
for me, it was a lot that particularly stood out. Just they, it was a slow start in the beginning, but they got their footing. Um, you know, Started moving the ball, which is that's key for the Knicks. When they have movement, they have a greater success. As far as controlling the tempo and
Mm-hmm.
just coming out with a win. But there was a lot of great moments. Outside of the win, Josh Hart, he was balling. Sometimes it's funny when you on watch it at home as opposed to the live game, and just you could
Mm-hmm.
just see how fast he's going it. And he know how to put the brakes on and protect that ball and take it to the rim, but you know, he was, a standout. Congratulations to him. Kudos. He recorded his first triple double. He had 10, 10, and 10. Um, there's a lot, I'll go over it later. I just don't want to just, take up the whole that little time. But that's just one of the things, and I'll definitely get into more. Dante, of course. He had nine threes. I think that a high for him. He
I
had
think
nine
so.
threes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's playing some solid ball. Um, a nice pickup for us. That nice signing. But you knew he did it in Golden State, so it wasn't surprising. It's not
Right.
like you picked him up on a whim and just hoping he could do mimic what he did. He was solid back then, so that was a nice pickup for the Knicks. Yeah, that's just some of it. I mean, I have more, but again, I don't want to monopolize, the whole podcast, with that though. What stood out for you?
I think what stood out for me was definitely one of the players was Precious Achua.
Yeah.
I thought that yeah, Josh Hart got a triple double, but it wasn't noticeable to me because I thought Josh Hart sometimes he could play a little sloppy, and I saw a lot more mismanagement of the ball to me. And I've seen that even when I'm watching a game at home. And I know I
Hmm.
seem like I'm coming off critical and like a hater. And it's not that, but it was just a lot of like silly passes, just ball behind him and he was in front of the ball. It just looked a little sloppy to me. And I know I'm nitpicking at things, but I
Well,
don't
you
know.
because I'm gonna stop you there because they only have 5 turnovers, and this is a key for the Knicks to cut down on their turnovers. So yeah, his play might have been sloppy, but those are hustle plays he also did. That's not no easy feat to to record a triple double. Whether it was 10 points, 11 points, he did it.
Right.
And you can't take that away. That's his first career triple double. Yeah, his passing, but again, they have 5 turnovers. So kudos for that because that was another Steve kicking point. For the Knicks, their turnover. So they have minimized them during the last few games. So I think that's something that they're area that they're cleaning up. So, but go
Yeah,
ahead.
I've said that the Knicks need to minimize the turnovers and keep the turnovers to 10 or less. I'm not talking about the turnovers. What I'm talking about is the mismanagement of the ball. It wasn't necessarily just his passing. It was more so one of those things for me that I didn't notice because it wasn't something that was noticeable. I'm just being honest. For me, in my opinion, as somebody who was, and again, if I wasn't live at the game and I was watching it from home, I wouldn't have noticed he had it. And quite honestly, the few times that I looked up at the box score, I didn't even really pay attention to that because to me it was like a quiet triple double, which is fine. Everything don't need to be flashy and in the
It
spotlight,
was.
and I appreciate it because he did come through and help us out, and he made the right timely passes when he threw nice passes to to Precious Achua, a couple of times to DiVincenzo, to Brunson. So I thought he did a good job in that regard. But I thought Precious Achua played a pretty good game. He was in the
Yeah.
right spots. I thought guys was able to find him because he was where he needed to be. I thought that short 3-pointer, he missed a few of those. That's where you
Oh
miss
yeah.
OG Ananobi, who's able to knock down those shots. But still, I thought that he did a great job. Even a few defensive plays, like those plays that is not going to necessarily come up on the stat sheet or a highlight play rather, but he's able to stand with his hand straight up. He didn't commit fouls, a lot of rinky dink silly fouls, and it worked for him. He just stood his ground, and a lot of times guys, he was able to just get the simple block. So I like the way he played, and he's finding himself in the offense in the game and playing with this team. He has that passion too. You saw a lot of
Yeah.
times when he made baskets or the dunks. You just saw that celebratory passion that he has. And he
Hmm.
seems to have that. I don't know. I guess it's this African thing, like OG, where he has this like. It's not. You're not going to catch him smiling too much. They're very focused on trying to get the win. How African parents are very big on your studies and work first and then you play later. And that's how I feel. Like we're not gonna celebrate too much because it's like, and Tibbs is big on that too. It's like celebrate the win now. Okay, we got to get ready for the next game. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I thought Precious definitely stood out for me, and um, DiVincenzo stood out for me. I thought he carried the Knicks.
Oh
If
yeah,
it
for
wasn't for
sure.
his scoring, because Jalen Brunson was off on the first half,
He
and
was.
he had the looks. It wasn't necessarily that Jalen Brunson wasn't getting the looks that he wanted. He definitely had the looks that and getting to his spots where he normally got to, but he was missing a lot of easy chippers. And then there was some, the refs weren't really calling some calls, and finally, because the Knicks were playing aggressive, they were able to get the calls that they wanted. But I thought that overall, I thought it was a pretty good collective team effort win that the Knicks played. The Knicks started to move the ball more, which made the game easier for them because in the first quarter, most of the second quarter, it was just very stagnant, the offense. No one was going anywhere. But you saw in the
Yeah.
third quarter, the fourth quarter, that pace picked up. Guys were finding their way. It was a couple of few scares. Ihart fell flat on his face, hit his chest really hard. Jalen Brunson got head hit the hardwood. Grimes pushed one knee leg all the way, it
Yeah.
overextended another leg. It was just a lot of like scary moments watching the game. He was like, "Oh, what's going on here?" Um, and I just thought that Utah seemed to be like they didn't have that energy. Kind of like when the Knicks played them the first time, they was like a step or two too slow. So I felt comfortable from the start of the game. Like the Knicks could take this because Utah wasn't coming out with that full force that, some teams come out with super aggressive. But nonetheless, I thought that the game was pretty. The Knicks somehow found a way to come together that second half and pull out the win.
Yeah, yeah, they did. Cause like like as I was saying, Utah, they got some big, they got some size there. So it was like the Knicks had to, now they controlled the tempo because there was a few blocks that where Utah was down in that paint and it was like a block party for them. But Utah had size, but the Knicks had just speed, and they had to just match their physicality. So I think that's what also had them get over that hurdle and get that win.
Hmm.
Uh, because they, like you said, the Knicks should have took that game, that first game that they played.
Hmm.
Yeah, marketing he's 7 feet, but I, that was a win and that they just pretty much let slip by them, and I guess they had to, figure. Well, they knew that they could beat this team. That this was a beatable team, and
Hmm.
they just used, for the most part, like their strength and just was able to control the tempo. So.
Yeah, I like the way the Knicks were
Lu-
able to pick up the pace. First
Yeah,
quarter, Knicks had 29, Utah had 22. Second quarter, Knicks scored 28, Utah had 27. Third quarter is where the Knicks started to really pull away. They scored 36, Utah had 24. In the third quarter, the Knicks did get outscored 25-30, but I think the key for that was that at that point, because at one point the Knicks were up by like 28, and then
yeah,
Utah was able to bring it down to like 14 at one point, and kind of chip into the lead that the Knicks had. But I mean, no one really did anything for Utah. Laurie only had 14. Collins had 11. Sexton had 22. He was their leading scorer. Jordan Clarkson only had 11, and Keontae George only had 15. So there was no really like huge standouts. And then, for the Knicks, uh, Jalen Brunson finished with 29 points, 9 assists. Dante DiVincenzo finished with 33, 5 rebounds. Isaiah Hartenstein finished with a double double. He had 12 rebounds, 14 points. Precious Achua finished with 18 points, 5 rebounds. Josh Hart finished with a triple double with 10 boards, 10 assists, and 10 points. And Quentin Grimes finished with 6 rebounds, 12 points. And Jericho Sims finished with 4 points, 2 points. Miles McBride had a quiet game. He was very off. I was hoping he would have been able to contribute in that game, but he just couldn't buy a basket. And then
yeah,
even on the defensive end, he was sticking his chest out instead of playing defense with his feet. So that's why he was getting called for a lot of the fouls that he did get called for, but it just wasn't his night.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but I remember I asked you as far as Precious, if you feel like he can consistently give the Knicks, 15 to 20 a game. And I don't necessarily think that that's required or needed from him, but do you think that he can bring that for the Knicks if need be? Because right now he's technically standing in for Julius Randle.
Um, I think he's capable of that, giving, 15 or better, 15 plus. The big question was when Randall went down, where they're gonna, get those points from.
Mhm.
And Precious seemed to, yeah, he's not scoring Randall's points, but he seemed to have stepped in and filled in, that role, seamlessly by just what he's doing, his defense, he doesn't lack on that. For me anyway, other people may see it different, but he seemed to, stepped up and filled that role because that's what's required of him. Don't shy away now. And I guess he was just, sometimes guys are just waiting for that moment and that opportunity. Some know how to seize the opportunity, others don't. And I think he's one of the ones that, like, well, just let me just get that chance. And he's taking that moment, and he's rolling with it. And he to me he's doing fine, so far. Um, he don't lack on defense. You see he does hustle, and so he's not scared to go down low. He does do that. And we was just I say one thing. I remember I mentioned to you yesterday. I said, Randall, I said, I don't see him do what was that he did, like the lob or something. And I get it, they're two different styles, their plays or what, I get it. But it's just, it's funny, like, how some players are able to, because that's their style of play. So but he's able to, outside, inside. So, he does a little bit of both. I mean, I think he is sustainable, for him to give us, 15 plus.
Yeah, I think he is capable of doing that because, you know, Precious game kind of reminds me of like it resembles to some degree like Isaiah Hartenstein's game where you can get the mid range, and actually that's why I say he can give you a little bit more because he's not afraid to shoot that mid range shot, whereas Isaiah Hartenstein is just going to go with the floater.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
noticed with Hartenstein, he had a few moments where he turned around and he was actually successful. And I was like, see, if he does that more instead of trying to look to pass the ball at the top of the key, he's going to have to learn how to do that more moving forward in the rest of this season and going into the playoffs. Because if he just, sometimes that passing it to the top of the key is going to hurt us. Because why do that when, say, a team is really playing hardcore defense and you can't get the ball to DiVincenzo or Randall or Brunson? That's where you like,
Mhm.
so Sims did that yesterday. He just drove it right to the basket. Sometimes as a big, you got to just take it in and go
Yeah,
down with that
yeah.
hard flush of a dunk and just do what you need to do. Trying to pass it to the top of the key, why do that and try to reset? The shot clock is going down and you could have just went in for an easy shot. But I think Precious is capable of giving you at least 15 because he's not just looking for the lob and the dunk. He could shoot the mid range. He can go down low and make a move to get to the basket, which we saw him do that these past few games. And again, it is different when you're watching a game live in person. The court looks a lot smaller than when you're watching it on the TV. But I just like the way he's just aware of where he needs to be. And that was another thing too I liked with last night's game. Dante DiVincenzo's defense reminded you of OG Ananobi. He got
Oh
in
yeah.
the passing lanes. He was moving his feet. He was reading passes that were going from one end of the court to the other, and he was able to steal the ball and run away with it. Josh Hart did the same thing. They were in the passing lanes, and that's where the Knicks are really successful. When you're really locked in on defense, and which their defense has really improved. I believe the Knicks are at the number one defense
They
um,
are.
since the
They are.
trade, right?
Yep.
So I think with OG Ananobi, I mean, excuse me, with Precious Achua, he can give the Knicks those points. He's not, I agree with you, he's not going to give you as much production as Randall, but I don't think he's going to be 5 points, 2 points, and streaky. I think because this guy proved he can get to his spots where he needs to. He's not going to just camp down low by the basket. You know what I mean? Like if you compared him, I know he's not going to get the same amount of minutes, but I'm just saying if it was like a Taj Gibson, you're not going to get 15, 20 points. And I don't. This is another thing that killed me too. They were rooting for Taj to come in the game. I couldn't understand that. I was like I know New York Knicks fans are funny, but they're also fake and phony because they were shouting MVP to Jalen Brunson, but y'all didn't even vote that man in. Every
That's
time he got
hard.
that ball, they were shouting MVP. But I said if we did a poll in here and we looked at who voted, half of y'all didn't even vote for that man. So cut it out. Cut it
Yeah.
out. You all are fake and phony because y'all didn't even vote that man into the to be a starter. You know what I mean? After he lumped up his head yesterday, sacrificed his body a few times, and took the offensive charges, and y'all
Charge.
no respect on his name. None. None. Forget MVP. You should have at least started with the All Star. That's where y'all need to start. See, the priorities are messed up with the Knicks fans. But I digress. That's neither here or there with that. But I think that with Precious, he's gonna be able to hold that role down in replacement of Randall until Randall gets back. But my question to you is, after seeing these last few games, and especially with this month of January, and the Knicks having a very good month, the Knicks are now, I don't know, what are they, 14 and 2, 16 and
Yeah,
2?
yeah, they went 14-2 in the month of January. And they do have the longest win streak out of the league with a
Right.
total of 8 wins across the league. So kudos
Right.
to them also.
Which shows because they've moved up in the Eastern Conference
Oh
standing.
yeah, for sure.
But after watching this month, is this just a hot streak, or do the Knicks still need to bring in someone else, considering the Knicks have been dealing with mid-season injuries?
No, they still need
Even
a
if they didn't
playmaker.
have the injuries and guys, Randall was still in, do they still need someone else?
Oh yeah, they do because look at the minutes that they're playing.
Hmm.
Like how long is this gonna go on before someone else gets hurt? God forbid, knock on some wood, but we don't, need another injury. So yeah, they definitely do need, like Coach see what's that
So
Sias 617. Yeah, he even said we need to add a playmaker, and we do because this is not sustainable or doable. Like how long are they gonna be able to do it before you know you suffer another injury or something like that. And then also y- as much as you do get Stu he gets the chance. He's another one that's streaky and inconsistent. He's not ready to be the second man off the bench. I think he's a third, type, third, in that third role to come off the bench. We got he got gave us 19, then some other points, but me, he's just not that guy. And no shade to him. I like Deuce and his defense and what he does, but just to come off the bench after Brunson, no.
and after seeing Grimes, you still feel like, should Grimes stay on this team, or should the Knicks look to shop Grimes off?
You know what? I like Grimes. Although I have my reservations about him on my previous podcast, but I like cause for his defense, like what Grimes does defensively. And although he's inconsistent, he just needs to find that shooting, that rhythm, that shooter's touch, and just have like not even one great game because he gave us 19 points. He just has to just be just a little bit more consistent because his defense is on point. And even he showed up for us in the playoffs last year. So you don't want to minimize that. What he did during the playoffs.
But is that
You know,
enough?
well, yes and no, but like I said, I like his defense. Yeah, that his shooting is streaky, and with the inconsistency, get rid of Fournier. So, I mean, I don't know, but I like Grimes, and I would hate for him, to I don't know, say go, but I don't know. I wish that he would just get out that slump, get out his own way and just find that rhythm. And then once he do, I think he could be, an asset, more so than a liability for the Knicks.
I think with Grimes, watching him, especially last night live, Grimes had a few moments where, sure, he gave us 12 points last night, I think 6 rebounds. Grimes had a lot of nice open looks. He had a few decent open looks. He just couldn't knock them down. But the difference with Grimes compared to, I would say, maybe like a Deuce or even Jalen Brunson, I understand there are different types of styles of games, right? Players and how they play.
Yep.
Grimes doesn't really drive to the basket. He very rarely does that. He's good on the transition where he's running full court and he can drive down the basket
He
and
puts
make
it off
that
the backboard.
right and
Mhm.
give you the layup off the black backboard. But if Grimes has to go from the set offense and drive to the basket, he can't do that. Not with confidence. I also watched Grimes yesterday. He missed a couple of 3-pointers that he had that were wide open. Then there was a few times where he maybe like twice I counted. It could have been three. He caught the ball and then he hesitated to shoot. Why? This is what I mean. That confidence level is not there. He was wide. I mean, I'm talking about we was in a nice rotation. Pass, pass, pass at the top of the key. Pass around the world. Nice flow of passes. It got to Grimes. Grimes was like, and then he thought about it. Defense wasn't running out towards him with their hand up. Grimes just didn't shoot it. And then he passed it to whoever else and passed it the other way. I said, why? Why would you do that? I just didn't understand that. But that's not even really it for me. I think with Grimes, I hear what you're saying. If he was knocking down his shot more, I would say we could keep him. If Grimes was hitting his shot like DiVincenzo, I would be like, keep Grimes on board because we could use those points.
But see,
But can Grimes bring that? And this goes for McBride. Are they going to be able to knock down shots in the playoffs?
I I I I think so. They're not gonna give us, 20 points or, your bench. If you could get on any given night, if you could have your bench give you 40% of the, 35% of the scoring, because they're not gonna, give you 50 on a night in, night out basis. That's not real. I mean, can't say it's not realistic, but across the league, most benches aren't, giving you that. If they could, between Grimes, um, what's it, McBride, even if when you do get the full roster back and combined with pressures, because of course he's going back, to the bench, because that's your 8-man and Josh, that's your 9-man rotation. If they could just give you like 35, 40, because someone's maybe scores 12 and someone maybe 10, if they could give you that, then I'm fine with that. I think
That's I'm
give
fine with that too. I'm just more so concerned with can they do that on a consistent basis? You
well,
playing the best out of five, the best out of seven. How many games are y'all not going to show up?
but not every game, but because your starting five, it's giving you the bulk of it. But you know, 8 points here, they could give you 35 or something for the night. You know, th- I'm okay with that. Like I said, I just like Brian for his defense, and he just like to die for. He just needs to just like slow down, and stop like just rushing. Why does he feel like he needs to be this catch and shoot type of guy? That's
His
what he needs
shot's
to
not
do.
there for that.
Yeah. What was that?
His shot's not there for that catch and shoot yet. Not yet.
No, of course not. But I think if we could, get rid of Fournier, then maybe some second round picks for, a playmaker, that we're being in good shape.
I don't know. I'm still on the
We
fence.
still on the fence with
I'm
Grimes,
still,
huh?
yeah, because it's just, I was looking yesterday and I said, it's a shame. And you heard fans yelling like for Tibbs to sit Brunson down. Tibbs didn't even trust sitting Brunson down. He had to play him the whole game. Even though the Knicks were up, The problem was, even when it was maybe 8, 7 minutes left in the fourth, I didn't blame Tibbs because you didn't know if Utah was going to go on a run. And it was that you don't have that second unit backup point guard to bring up the ball. There was no one to help out bring up the ball because Utah's so tall. Miles McBride was going to get lost because his ball handling skills, the dribbling skills, is not to the level like Brunson. Brunson
That's
may not be that tall, but there's a difference in how he's able to navigate and maneuver on that court around those bigs.
That's why they need that playmaker so Brunson can get that rest and with a comfortable lead and knowing that okay, well this guy's gonna come in and he's gonna take off from where I left off at it and feel comfortable sitting on that bench. And same thing with Tibbs, where he can sit Brunson now because they are playing just entirely too many minutes.
Now, what happens once the playoffs come, Mitchell Robinson comes back? What does Tibbs do as far as inserting him into the games? And how do you still balance it out so that Precious Achua continues to get decent minutes?
Well, Precious most likely will probably come behind Randall for he hopefully, and you got Hartenstein, and let's hope he keeps that rotation and iHeart starts. That'd be foolish goal for him to not start him, at this juncture and have most likely he probably will. We probably will have um Mitch come off the bench. Definitely when he first come back and hope, he could stay on that bench and come off. Um, but he could that increases, our the rotation. So that's an added, for the Knicks. Let him come off. Start iHeart. Mitch come after him. Precious, he could come behind Randall. So it's just more, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Just more depth, we'll have. Hopefully they get a point guard come behind Brunson.
But do
Yeah,
you think the
definitely.
Knicks, go ahead,
No, no, no. I said they'll definitely be lethal at that point. Put you back.
but do you think that the Knicks really need a point guard, or do they need someone who's a shooting guard but can bring the ball up the court that would make
Hmm.
that balance out for the team? Because I've been hearing a lot lately of Mikal Bridges' name rolling around. But the problem is that I don't see Brooklyn wanting to give him up because they're
They not.
holding on to him because they're hoping that they can get Spider so he can
Yeah,
play so they can play together. So
exactly.
even that's why I remember saying to you, like, I hear people in the chat, not just on our channel, but in other content creators channel, like they mentioned Spider, and I'm like, I don't see Cleveland wanting to even give him up, one, and two, the Nets are going to try to go after him anyway. But while I think Mikal Bridges would be a great fit just because he's just clutch, I don't see that happening. And honestly, I don't even really see the Murray trade happening for the Knicks.
No,
I,
I don't.
go ahead.
Well, Murray, the talk's been stalled for all teams really. So they're not even. And Atlanta, they know what they're doing. It's they're shopping him. They threw him out there as bait, and just to see who's biting and who's not. Who's looking for somebody, and that's what they did. Because now they're gonna. It's like I'm not even gonna say the word, but it's like put him out there to again to see who's gonna offer me what the most value for him because they gave up a lot, and so they definitely not letting him walk. But as far as the Nets, I even read a blog that they're not getting rid of McHale. I think they're gonna build around him.
Yeah.
And Ben Simmons came back, so from his injury, and I think he recorded a triple double. I think he did. So I think if they could get him back, as their point guard, um, and they could build hope around those two guys. But and the same thing with Cleveland. A lot of people just playing hardball with the Knicks organization for the most part. Because then you don't know what these front offices are thinking. They know the Knicks have the assets, so they just they're just playing, just see what they can get for what player. The
Yeah.
most what's that, bang for your bucks for the most part.
Yeah, I don't really see if the Knicks do acquire anyone before the trade deadline, the February deadline. I see it being someone like, and I'm just using him as an example. It's not going to be who the fans really want. It's going to be like a Bruce Brown, a Malcolm Brogdon. It's not going to
Uh-huh.
be. I'm not saying it's going to be them, but I'm just saying it's going to be a player like that who you're like, oh, okay, cool. The Knicks got him. Let's see what he could
Mhm.
do. Somebody who's, you know, I don't know. I feel like
Well,
Tibbs is gonna have to insert that guy in, and maybe that person will work out. But I don't know. I don't see the Knicks making a move. I just feel like talks has been really under wraps. And again, like you said, we don't know what's going on behind the
yeah,
scenes with the front office, but I just don't see the Knicks making a like a big trade unless they just shock us all, and then it's like, wow.
that's that's what they're gonna do. It's a shock value in it all.
Mhm.
Look at what they did with the trade.
Right.
No one saw that coming,
Yeah.
and nobody can on this chat and no other platform say they saw that coming, because they didn't. Everyone was shocked when it happened. So and I think that's what they're gonna do. For the most part, it's all in just a wait and see.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a player like Burks. Exactly.
Yeah, well,
Somebody who is like, you know, and the thing is I like Burks, but I think me and you was talking about this. Like, I don't want when he was on the Knicks originally, and remember he used to have to play the point guard, you could tell he didn't want to have to do that. He didn't want to play point. He wanted to catch and shoot.
shoot. Mm-hmm.
He
He
didn't
wanted to
want
be
to
the
have to
shooting
bring
guard.
that ball up, but he had no other choice. Tibbs had to have make him bring the ball up. Now, granted, he's not going to always bring the ball up, but I think to be a backup to Brunson, I don't like it. I think he's good as a shooting option, but not bringing up the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was never comfortable when he used to play for the Knicks and he was bringing the ball up. It used to always look like the ball was going to get stolen from him when he brought the ball up. I don't know
Yeah.
why. The way it was like he was playing it safe. But I was never comfortable with Burks bringing the ball up the court. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen as far as the Knicks trades. Like I said, we're watching it just like the rest of you
Just
guys.
like everybody else.
Right. But as far as stats for the game, field goals, Knicks was at 46%, Utah was at 45. Three pointers, the Knicks was 38%, Utah 33. Free throws, Knicks was at 94%. They were 17 for 18. And Utah was 76%. Knicks finished with 45 rebounds, Utah 43. Knicks finished with 14 offensive rebounds, Utah 15. Knicks finished with 31 defensive boards, and Utah 28. Knicks had 29 assists, Utah 23. Blocks, Utah had 5. New York had 7. Steals, the Knicks had 9 steals. Utah only had 3. Turnovers, the Knicks finished with 5, which is really good. Utah had 14. And points in the paint, the Knicks had another strong game with 62 points in the paint. Utah had 50. So, the Knicks have been really trending upwards. And I think with the way that they're playing, um, while I like this streak that the Knicks are on, I want the Knicks to be known as not just the team who did what they did last year and won 9 games in a row. I want the Knicks to be looked at as a solidly good team because they're not going to just be on this hot streak and then cool off. You know what I mean? And then you're like, well, what happened? And it's fine if the streak only lasts until however long it does. But I think that it's being sustainable and consistent throughout the remainder of the regular season. So I want the Knicks. The Knicks are definitely capturing people's attention. I think they're speaking about the Knicks in a good way and a good light. And I think that the Knicks are being seen as a team that's making moves in the right direction, from front office moves to the way the team is working and how they're playing as a team to where they're going. So I just think that they still have a ways to go, but with the way that they're trending and going now, the Knicks to have home court advantage in the postseason, which is important and it's going to help them. And, I mean, if you looked at the standings now, I think they would play Indiana if it was first round, even though I know they played them Thursday. But I think
Mhm.
if they was to start the playoffs today, they would be playing Indy, which is another team that I think the Knicks need to focus on beating.
For
And
sure.
this week, finishing off a strong week. So they've already won their two. They play Indiana on Thursday. Then they play again on Saturday against the Lakers. Um, both of those are both winnable games. I know you had them at 4-0 this week. So far they are at the halfway mark. They won two. What is it going to take for the Knicks to continue to keep winning, considering they don't have Randall and OG is still out?
Continue to play like they're playing now. Um, that defense intensity. Once you put them in that hole, teams is hard to they're hard to get around.
Hmm.
Um, they got up to number one in a defensive rating, so they got there for a reason and got there some way somehow by playing solid defense.
Right.
Um, helping out. So if they continue to do that, and they are making strides because the ball movement just by you seeing that they cut down on their turnovers. Um, they're they're rebounding, so they are making strides and improving. So they could just continue on that path, and they could hold that number three, and hell move up to two, as far as I'm concerned. You know,
Which is very much doable. It's just like you always say,
yeah,
like even the better teams are beatable in the league. And I
yeah.
think that if the Knicks continue to beat the teams that are on the schedule and then prove that they can beat your Bostons, your Milwaukee's, your Denver's, who they've all already beat them all except for Boston,
Yeah.
I think that the Knicks have something to prove and they will continue to prove that. But especially on Thursday's game, Indiana just lost to Boston 124-129 yesterday. So they're going to be looking for a win, and especially against the Knicks. I'm not sure if Halliburton's going to be playing in that game. Haven't really heard much about that.
I think he came back, or he might be coming back. I think again with Indiana, their their thing is offense. They want to shoot you out of the gym. Well, lock them down, and the Knicks can
Mhm.
beat them. They are a beatable team. It's not like they're so high up in the standings. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Halliburton did play yesterday. He finished with a double double. He had 10 assists, 13 points. So, the Knicks are going to have their work cut out for them. I'm looking at who did what against Boston for Indiana. Aaron Nesmith, he finished with a double double. He had 26 points, 12 boards. Spicy P finished with 23 points, 6 rebounds. Miles Turner finished with 17 points, 5 rebounds. Buddy Hield finished with 12 points, 6 rebounds. Halliburton, 13 points, 10 assists. Andrew Nembhard finished with 15 points, 5 assists. Obi Toppin finished with 11 points, 8 rebounds. And Jalen Smith finished with 7 points, 4 rebounds. So, these guys are going to be looking to run and gun against the Knicks. I think the key also is that the Knicks are going to have to come out with energy because
Yeah.
Indiana's going to be looking to run. You have to guard Halliburton. This guy can easily give you 15, 20, 15 plus assists in a game. So I think that it's very key that, you got to watch him. Pascal, you got to watch him also. I mean, he used to kill the Knicks when he was on Toronto. So the Knicks are going to have their work cut out for them. It's doable, but I think the Knicks are definitely going to have to come out correct. That energy has to be there from tip off. Um, you know, First jump ball of the game, the Knicks have to come out with energy and then sustain that energy throughout the first half. And then third quarter, they have to come out with energy as well. You don't want Indiana, or did it even have it be a close game? I want to see the Knicks really run and fly away with that game.
Yeah.
And, you know, I feel the same way Saturday for the Lakers. Like they've been struggling and they have barely been able to pull out wins. I think they're sitting at like 10th or 11th. No, I think the Warriors in 10th. I think the Lakers are sitting like they pretty far in the standings.
Yeah, they are.
Well, they're ninth, but it doesn't matter. They're still not playing well. So
Exactly.
they're not doing too good over there.
Yeah, and they
But
lost their last two, so the Knicks
yeah,
could capitalize off of that. So
exactly, exactly. So yeah, the Pacers they just lost their last, and then look at Miami. They lost their last 7 games.
oh yeah, Miami's really tanking. Man,
But
I
you know
still
what? I'm not gonna count them out because Miami is like The Walking Dead. They'll all of a sudden catch some
they come
life.
alive.
Yeah, at some point in the end of the season, I'm just like, I don't know about those guys. I'm not gonna necessarily count them out because listen, nobody took them seriously last season. And they was
Yeah.
cruising at eighth and was just knocking everybody out one by one by one. So, and that's why I want the Knicks stay the underdog. You have
Exactly.
something to prove. First round, knock that team out. Second round, I need you to do the same thing. Get to the Eastern Conference Finals and stand on business and do what you need to do and knock teams out. But I think that I'm still hopeful that the Knicks will get someone else in. I still think they need about two players to you know give them that extra oomph that they need to go far this season. But again, until that happens, they have to continue to play as a team, move the ball, and continue that ball movement and help out on the boards. I do like that I see Josh Hart, DiVincenzo, Grimes going in for rebounds and helping out on the boards. Precious helping out on the boards. And you don't just see the same one or two guys grabbing rebounds. I think that's so important. And also, I like the way the Knicks were running. They were grabbing the rebounds and quickly up the floor. I think
Yeah.
once they messed up, and that was towards the end of the game. Remember, they had a backcourt violation.
Oh yeah, yeah. When
Precious,
Precious was bringing up, he gave it to DiVincenzo. Like he should have just kept. But
and
hey,
that's
we
because
were up though.
Utah, whoever was guarding Jalen Brunson, they didn't want Jalen Brunson getting the ball in his hands. So you had to have
That Sexton. Yeah,
right.
he tried to. Oh wait, hold on. This is what he said. Salute, ladies, my favorite. What was that? He said,
Read it out loud.
I said my favorite part in the game was Sexton thought he was doing something until he woke JB up, and that was all she wrote. Murder she wrote. Yeah, he tried to get it to Brunson's head. You
Yeah,
you don't know. You woke up the beast like duh. You that backfired. Fail. So
yeah.
that was
DiVincenzo had his back, and I think he wound up making a clutch shot, a three, and then went over and let them know like we're not doing that over here. But I think that it's also important tomorrow and just moving forward that everybody steps up because teams are gonna try to eliminate Jalen Brunson from getting as many touches. And now that they see DiVincenzo heating up, they're gonna try to limit his touches as well. So I think that everyone's gonna have to do their part And if they continue to play together and trust each other, it's going to work out for the best for the Knicks, But I just think that it's going to take that continued team effort amongst each other. And the Knicks seem to definitely be gelling as of late. You just see it the way they're playing together, the way guys are when they're going back to the bench. I mean, DiVincenzo's shot is just money. I mean, the way he's just knocking down those shots, it reminds you of like when the Warriors guys, Clay and Steph were just hitting that, knocking down shots from anywhere on the court. The way he's shooting that ball is just, and he's not even just shooting. He was even trying to get a few and ones yesterday when
Yeah,
he just couldn't. I think he got blocked twice and then he
he
missed
got
one of
blocked.
the dunks. Yeah, but he'll probably try to get one against the next game. And even I want to see them hold Obi. I don't want to see Obi doing whatever he wants to do against us. I mean, he's not that good. And it's too bad. I had mentioned to you in yesterday's game, I would like to see Tibbs play his brother. I don't know why he doesn't get any burn, which he should,
Yeah,
because
he'll get his time. He'll get his time. No, I want to see Sims just. I would like to see Sims just give me 10 points one game.
yeah,
10
he's
points. That's
capable.
all. Yeah, he is. He
He's
says
just,
nice picks, and he could just roll to the basket. He's, but some he's holding he's holding himself back because he's capable.
I was
Sims,
going
and
to
it's
ask you, do you think he's holding himself back or that guys are not passing him the ball?
no Sims
They're not,
holding himself
it's
back
Sims.
because
Yeah, it's definitely Sims.
he gets nice. He sets nice picks. He could roll to the basket. A lot of time when he gets the rebound, sometimes he wants to tap it out. He needs to just grab the rebound, go up strong. So like it's something about him, like his play. He's holding himself back. Hopefully we'll get it before this season, is out.
Yeah, I think maybe part of it is like what you were saying. He needs to get those reps in to build up his confidence playing in real time games because that was killing me to watch yesterday in the games with Sims tapping the ball out. And I'm like, just grab the freaking ball. This is
Yeah.
not the sport of volleyball. Sometimes that tapping out is cool, but you know who does the tapping out well? Mitch and iHeart does that well.
Yeah.
Sims doesn't tap that ball out well. It's not going to a Knicks player. It's going to the wrong
Yeah.
team or it's
Well,
going out of bounds. But I
it,
think if he learns to two hand grab the ball and get the rebound, because it's not like the ball is necessarily slipping through his hands. He's just not grabbing the rebound.
yeah.
And then
It's
he's
a
just like,
learning thing for him.
yeah, the confidence too. He's not. I want to see him grab it and put that ball back up. He made that nice play. That one nice play. I'm like, if he should do things like that more. I'm not asking for that every night, but I agree. Sims is capable of giving you 6 to 10 points if
I
he.
mean, and yeah, not every night because he doesn't play every night, but when he do get in, maybe 8 points, 10 points,
Mhm.
somewhere around there. Just what maybe every now and again.
And he has to stop jumping for every little thing. He leaves
Oh
his feet
yeah,
way too
feet.
much. And that's how he's able to get those silly fouls because he falls for every little head
Yeah.
fake or, guys going up and his timing is not there like a iHeart or Mitch where they can block the shot as well. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's something he definitely needs to work on. And, I know he'll get better at that. But yeah, I don't know. I think I agree with you. I think that he is holding himself back for sure. Salute Parish. He said we got one concern about his tips killing morale and burying guys when players come back.
Yeah,
I don't
because because he's known to shorten that rotation. You know, he Randall come back and then OG. Who's gonna come off the bench? And that's why he plays his guys so much. He has a nice rotation. Within that lineup. So go with the 9 man or a 10 if you have to. That way you utilize the players and you're not overplaying them.
Yeah. But do you think that a part of that being trust with Tibbs, do you blame him? Because going down further along the season, there's going to be some games that Tibbs is not going to trust putting in other guys in. He's going to just ride with his main guys who he wants to play. But do you think that when we get towards the end of the regular season and we hit the postseason, should he be, trying to put in guys like a Sims or
If you're
giving?
playing him now, yes. If you're playing him now, don't stop playing him. You trusted him before when those guys were out. So
This is
why is the
true.
trust factor wane? So yes.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, I think yeah, Paris said play whoever's playing good, trust who's winning these games. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my philosophy. But I think that's how Tibbs thinks too. It's like, well, these are the guys that's getting the job done, so this is who I'm gonna play. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like if Randall's hot, DiVincenzo's hot, Brunson's hot, iHeart's hot, that's who he's gonna keep in. He's not gonna really want to play those other guys. And if he do, he's gonna give them that same amount of minutes he used to give McBride. Here's 3, 4 minutes, and that's it. Just to
But
give that other guy a break.
they were good enough to win you those games when your rotation was short. Ride with them now. And that's the only way that you're gonna build that trust with them. You had trusted them. So I mean, and I hope he don't do that because it does, broaden, it does expand your rotation.
Hmm.
Um, you now you got guys and you could shuffle, that lineup, and
Right.
and match them up. So even if they, get a breather here or there, I think it's worth a shot.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that Tibbs has trust issues, I mean, and I think also Tibbs also has his like this pressure too. He's been with the Knicks for a few years now. The team has been doing better.
Hmm.
So he's on a mission to try to take them to the next level. And Tibbs is known as that coach to do that with teams that he coaches.
Oh yeah,
He
for
brings
sure.
them very far. They become a very good defensive team, which is something that he preaches. And I said to you yesterday at the game, we didn't hear him one time screaming,
Yell it, yeah. When
yelling. He
they
didn't yell
close
not
and
one
yell.
time. When he like, ah, he didn't do that. He didn't do that not one time in the game.
Yo,
Not usually the camera picks it up. I didn't hear him now, and we were close enough to hear it. We weren't like far from the game. I'll have to put the footage in the next video because Diva Lock sent me the footage too late, everybody.
yeah, agree, Wonder Woman. Yeah, Tibbs has to find a balance between the trust factor and not burning players out. Exactly. Like if you got a 10 man, because right now you working with what he's still working with an 8. Josh, um, actually 9. Grimes, Sims, and Deuce. So you got 9. He has a lot to play, a lineup to play with, to play
Hmm.
around with. Yeah, we missing that playmaker, that one more piece. But as far as his lineup, he has a pretty decent lineup where he could play around with, shuffle, with the matchups and things like that. So, and it's look how far it's gotten him.
Yeah, I was going to allude to that. That you know, even with us not having the extra piece or two we need, the Knicks have still managed, and I think a lot of the guys giving them credit, guys have stepped up to the plate. Tibbs is big on that next man up. And I'm sure he preaches that in practices, like you gotta be ready. You
Yeah.
gotta be ready for me to, if I call you in, be ready to go in and perform. You can't just think you're gonna get in and get the balls in your hand, but be ready to do something with the ball and be ready to do something even when you don't have it on a defensive end. So I just hope that guys continue to stay healthy. Like Grimes, the Knicks are gonna need him.
Yeah.
You can't be overextending your kneecaps, twisting up your legs, and um, I even saw Miles McBride had a back brace on. Isaiah Hartenstein has something for his tendonitis, whatever he had him on, like his calves. It was just, but again, and then I think the Knicks have a decent little break after Saturday because I think they don't play again till the following Tuesday. Yeah, they don't play the Memphis till Tuesday.
Who they
So,
play?
Memphis Tuesday the 6th.
Let me look at my schedule right fast. I got
Yeah.
it.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
after Saturday.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And they still home too. They got they're on a 5 game home stretch. So
Right.
yeah, you got Memphis, and then Dallas, then Indiana, and then they go back on the road before the All-Star break.
Yeah. I loved Woodson. He
I
was
believe
like
that balance was even better. Oh yeah, Tibbs had Woodson on the bench to put things in perspective. Yeah, I used to love Woodson.
me too. Woody was the last good coach the Knicks had, in my
Yeah,
opinion, because Woody wasn't afraid to let players know what it was. He wasn't. Remember, he used
no,
to
he
curse
wasn't.
players out when they was on
Yeah,
the bench, but it was like a respect thing. It wasn't like I'm embarrassing you. It's like because even sometimes you see Tibbs. I saw Tibbs do that yesterday. You know how he folds his arms and you see him cursing, like, what the F was that? And he'll look at players. I don't know if he did that to if it was Grimes or Deuce, and Tibbs just like looked at him like, what was that? He said, what was you doing? Like, I don't even know what that was. So I agree though. I loved when the Knicks had Woody. That was when the Knicks, the last time they went far. Granted, they had veterans on the team at that time.
hmm.
But does this Knicks team remind you of any previous Knicks teams? Or were you
Um,
like you're getting flashes from a previous Knicks team?
kind of, sort of. It's just they have the physicality, but not like how the '90s Knicks did with the Oakley era and the Stark. So we don't really have that in that sense, but just like the scoring, and just like what they're trying, where they're trying to go, and what they're trying to accomplish. And then remember Anthony Mason. He was like an Oakley man. You just like just bully people. So kind of, that era, in a way, but not necessarily. Was just two different styles and just how they play for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I want to say they do, and then I want to say they remind me of, but then I don't, like I want to say they remind me of when we had like Spreewell and Allen Houston, that era, but I'm
Mm,
like maybe I could say it with having like Randall, Brunson, iHeart, but I'll even throw DiVincenzo in there because of the shooting. Something's missing, like the grit. I don't know that like something comparing it to that team or looking at
yeah,
that team, that Knicks team compared to this one. This Knicks team still is missing that grittiness and that
yeah,
scrappiness like that. I still need the Knicks to get to that level. Like they got to come out like lions. You know what I mean? They got to come out like
mm-hmm.
hungry. You can't come out in that first and second round and come out too soft because these teams are going to walk right all over you. And we're going to look back and go, how? How did that happen that quickly? Because you came out too soft. Y'all came out too scary. So I don't know. I just feel like that. And then, see, that's what I mean with Grimes. It's not an Allen Houston shot. I need you to get to that level where you clutch. He's gonna get there, but you're not there yet. But I don't
Yeah.
know. Looking at that team and going into this team, yeah, I saw that comment. I was
Yeah.
looking at that what Eddie said. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
Lakers will like to use Saturday games to resuscitate their season.
That's true.
Teams love to do that against the Knicks, but the Knicks have been doing a good job holding teams to like a little over 100 points or less.
Yeah.
Consistent teams have been scoring 140, 125, 130. And the defense has been turned up, but you can't slip. You can't allow, like, they can't afford to lax. You know what I mean? You can't say, well, this game we're gonna take a night off and not take a team seriously. You gotta finish strong. You see how Boston is getting the job done? It's very rare
Yeah.
they're getting a
Yeah.
loss. That's the same way the Knicks have to be. Milwaukee is very rare. They may not play defense, but they're still managing to pull out wins. So
Exactly.
can't get lax. You have to keep your foot on these teams' necks and put teams away, you know? So Brunson is a top 10 player. That's what changed. You think so since he's gotten to the Knicks, he's a top 10 player, Parrish? Or was he a top 10 player previous to him coming to New York?
Yeah.
You know, because Brunson was good even before he came to the Knicks. I just think because New York is also a bigger market, you know, and because the Knicks didn't really have anyone. Because let's be honest, Brunson elevated the team a lot. Let's
Oh, for
even
sure.
way before we did all of this trades and everything. Randall was doing his best and he
Yeah.
had good games. I'm not going to take anything away from Randall, but to me, I think Brunson brought it to another level
Yeah, for
where
sure.
he made it. He took pressure off of Randall. Randall was able to get the shots and the looks and go to his spots where he wanted on the court because you have more of a actual point guard, a facilitator of the ball. But when Brunson got here, this team went to a different level. And there's actually a video I was gonna send you that I saw Brunson was playing at I forget which gym it was. And I mean I'm like you really I agree you really can't guard him. It's very hard
Yeah.
to guard Brunson. He keeps his dribble nice and low. He doesn't stop dribbling the ball. He's constantly moving his feet, you know, and it's a
Mhm.
shame people didn't vote him as a starter and an all-star because he's not flashy like Trey Young, whose team is losers this season. You know, because he's not doing what Ice Tray is doing on the floor, and they'd rather vote for Ice Tray than Jalen Brunson. Incredible
Who's
to
the other
die for, huh?
No, 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 go ahead.
To die for. Salute said Lakers are a team below 500. Let's keep the streak going. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Just because it's LeBron, I don't care. You could hold AD, you could hold LeBron, you could hold D'Lo,
Yeah.
you could hold Hachimura. What's the other? Austin. You could hold all of them.
And the other kid, I forgot the kid that plays on for the Lakers. He got ejected because he got him Dylan the villain. Got into it. Yeah, they can hold him. They're nobodies.
Yeah. Anthony Mason was one of my favorite players.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that the Knicks, you know, I'm looking forward to them making it 9 in a row against Indiana on Thursday. Um, and yeah, we're gonna see what the Knicks do. But I'm being optimistic. I'm looking for them to finish off 4 in a row for this year, and we'll see what the Knicks do. Um, Anything else for you before we get out of here today?
You know my mantra. Let's go Knicks.
And indeed, let's go Knicks. Yeah, the Knicks play tomorrow, 7:30. I will try to come on and do coverage, but Diva Locks is gonna come in and do some kind of post game or pre game this weekend. But I may be able to join her, guys. Um, yeah, he is, but I don't think they're looking to get rid of him either. But
You know,
I feel
team
like
needs to see.
Brogdon could be like how White is for Boston for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if we could get somebody like that, that's gonna help out a lot. To die so Pacers are 4-6, last 10. We about to add to that. Yeah, they're not that good. Well, apparently that injury for Halliburton wasn't that serious when he did the split.
Yeah, that was just a something
Yeah.
on a hamstring.
Hmm.
Hit that like button, subscribe.
Exactly. You heard her. She ain't never lie. Guys, hit the like button on your way out while you're still here. It's free. Hit the subscribe button as well. Salute to the chat for joining us. As always, we appreciate you guys. Salute to Wonder Woman. Salute to Coach SAR 617. Salute to Die For. R. De La Cruz. Salute, salute. Salute to Eddie C. And who else? Salute Parish Duggar. Nick's a nice. What up, Nick's a nice? Salute. And I think that's everybody for today. Want to appreciate everybody for joining us again today and tuning into our channel and supporting the channel. Those of you who are new, check us out, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button, and go like some of the old videos. And salute to the replay gang for watching our videos. We appreciate it. And as Diva Locks always says, let's go Knicks. And until next time, everybody, we're out. Peace.
Peace.